Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw post show. And man, there's a lot to talk about in today's episode. We hear from the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. We also hear from Jacob Fatu. We see Obafemi in action. We have a couple open challenges, as a matter of fact, last night on Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about that and how I feel about these open challenges that seemingly SmackDown and Raw are continuously keep doing for some apparent reason. We also have Io Sky in action. We also hear from the Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch as well. And we also see the newest Raw acquisition in Joe Hendry. We'll talk about all that in today's episode and what went down last night on Monday Night Raw. But before I even get to the full rundown of the show, man, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the news that recently came out pertaining WWE. Now, if you guys haven't learned this was brought to my attention yesterday that Triple H, Paul Levesque, has re-signed a new deal with WWE and TKO where he is going to stay on as the chief content officer or operating officer, whatever you want to call it, whatever title that he has. He's staying on with WWE for the next 3 years on top of his current deal that he currently has with WWE and TKO. So I know a lot of people are going to be sitting there and pointing the finger and say, hey man, you literally been telling us this whole time that you think Paul Levesque is going to be out the door in within WWE for the next 18 to 26 months. He's gone. I'm going to be honest. That was my opinion. Do I still believe that Hunter is going to be on his way out at some point? Yes, I do. And this is not something where I think Hunter is going to retire. You know, my thing is with Hunter signing this new deal, first and foremost, congratulations to Paul. You know what I mean? I think Paul Levesque, you know, obviously he's the name around the brand. A lot of people, when they think WWE, they think Paul Levesque. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. But my thing is with Paul Levesque, what has Paul Levesque done as of late, or examples for that matter, to really spark interest in the fact of, okay, yeah, he deserves to get that new deal? What has Paul Levesque done up to this point to be like, you know what, yeah, he deserves that extra contract. He deserves that extension. He deserves that money that he's getting from TKO, being Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro. What has he done up to this point to grant himself another opportunity at another contract extension with TKO? Nothing. And I mean, let's look at the writing on the wall here too, folks. I mean, for the past couple years now, past 2 years, around WrestleMania, we've seen Hunter get inducted, and we just seen Stephanie McMahon also get inducted into this year's WrestleMania. So maybe this was something that both Stephanie and especially Paul Levesque probably saw the writing on the wall that, hey, maybe my time is up with WWE. I genuinely believe when it comes down to Paul Levesque, as far as him being in WWE and the position that he is in at the current moment, I think it's just a waiting game. And what I mean by that is that TKO is patiently waiting for The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, to come in and take over what Paul Levesque is doing. In my honest opinion. And I know, you know, Dwayne's busy. He's shooting movies. You know, he's running the UFL right now, and they're in the prime time of their season. He has other business opportunities out there right now that are demanding his attention. Meanwhile, Dwayne The Rock Johnson is also on the board of directors for WWE. I think Triple H is a placeholder right now until Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes in on a more full-time basis. In my honest opinion. To me, Paul Levesque hasn't really done... I mean, again, we're also talking about a guy that literally shit on the internet wrestling community last year going into WrestleMania, telling all of us just to pretty much shut the hell up and just watch the show. That's not what we do here. And not for nothing, your past couple of WrestleManias have fell flat on their ass. So all he was trying to do last year was silence the critics about how bad WrestleMania was last year and how bad WrestleMania was this year. But then when Pat McAfee comes in, the biggest TKO stooge of them all, Paul Levesque thought it was a great idea. Let's bring in Pat McAfee. Let's have him around WrestleMania weekend. Maybe he could sell tickets. Let's drop the ticket prices to 25% off going into 2 weeks in before WrestleMania? They weren't buying those tickets to see Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee can't draw flies to shit. They bought those tickets because the tickets finally went down 25% off. Because if you want to buy a ticket to WrestleMania, you basically had to sell your soul and your house to maybe get the possibility to actually have a decent seat at WrestleMania. Why? Because the corporate greed that WWE is continuously keep doing, and it's never going to change. It's never going to change. So for those people out there that are going to point the finger, hey man, you said Paul Levesque was going to be gone in 18 to 26 months. Yeah, it's my opinion. Again, I'll ask you, how many examples can you say that Paul Levesque did that was a good job? Honestly, he brought up Obafemi. Obafemi was already over in NXT, and that was the doing from Shawn Michaels. So that had nothing to do with Paul Levesque. Paul Levesque has nothing to do with NXT anymore. Paul Levesque has had nothing to do with NXT since the Black and Gold brand, which seemingly that ran into the goddamn ground. Obafemi was already over before he got on the main roster. That's it. So again, how many examples do you have that Paul Levesque has done very well in the position that he is in to grant him another opportunity at a new multi-year deal to stay on with WWE and TKO? And again, anybody in my position is going to say the same thing about Hunter being gone in the next 18 to 26 months, considering the fact that he inducted himself into the Hall of Fame last year, and then Stephanie McMahon, his wife, was inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Maybe they saw the writing on the wall. I do still believe that Paul Levesque is a placeholder for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's just my opinion. So we're going to see how things play out. But again, I wanted to bring this y'all's attention. I'm not going to sit here and say I was wrong, but I still believe that Paul Levesque is a placeholder for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But right now, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has other business opportunities out there right now that are demanding a lot more of his time right now than WWE. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, mind you, is still on the board of directors for WWE. So just because he's not present on television doesn't mean that he's not around WWE. So I just think right now he is a placeholder until he's more full-time with WWE. So I still think that Paul Levesque's days in WWE are going to be numbered, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's get into the show, man. We have Roman Reigns and the Usos in a cold open to start the show. Roman is sitting down with the Usos, pretty much a cinematic vignette, if you will, which I love when WWE does this, by the way. Roman asks the Usos, where is Fatu coming from? Roman says that he beat CM Punk. Why is Fatu trying to take the title away from him now? The Usos say they agree with Fatu, trying to better his life. Jey Uso says that if Fatu beats Roman, it's over. Fatu has everything. Jey says there has to be consequences. And then Roman says that he's going to address Fatu later on in the night. Some interesting stuff there from the tribal chief and the Usos. And moving on from that, we hear from Seth Rollins. Rollins comes out the ring, grabs a microphone, and says he's got a lot of ground to cover. Rollins talks about losing to Gunther at WrestleMania, but he didn't lose to Gunther. That Gunther had help from Braun Breaker. Roman then talks about Roman Reigns as well as Braun Breaker. Rollins says that we got business to settle, and Rollins then calls out Braun Breaker. Breaker and Heyman come out to the ring. Breaker and Rollins get face-to-face in the middle of the ring. Rollins says that he gave Braun everything. But Rollins says that he lost everything because of Braun. And Rollins then asks Breaker why. Why did you do what you did? Braun says that what did you give me? Braun says every single week, him and Reed were your errand boys. Braun says that Rollins needed him to win his battles. Braun then mocks Rollins. Braun says that he never needed Rollins or the Vision, but he needed Paul Heyman. Rollins then mocks Heyman. Rollins then takes a trip down memory lane. Rollins says he called Shawn Michaels when he went down to NXT and said he wanted to fight the best, and the best was Braun Breaker. Rollins then praises Braun Breaker, but Rollins says that Braun has it all. But he says the difference between him and Braun is Rollins has succeeded and Braun has not. Rollins says that Braun is not ready. Braun says that he is on his way to be a main eventer before Rollins. Braun says that Rollins' body is beat down and he doesn't have it anymore. Breaker says that Rollins has done it all. He also says that Rollins is the best wrestler in the world at being number 2. Rollins then mocks Breaker. Rollins asks if Braun is ready. Rollins then mentions Backlash. And then Rollins says Braun is not even number 2 in his own family, mentioning the Steiners, which I thought was very interesting from Seth Rollins. Moving on from that, we go to the backstage area where Raquel Rodriguez and the Judgment Day attack Stephanie Vaquer. Looks like there's some unfinished business there between Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's Penta taking on Rusev. Before the match even gets started, Ethan Page is here. Ethan Page is ringside during this matchup, but the match between Penta and Rusev was a good match. Now, I personally thought that the Intercontinental title was on the line for this matchup. I guess it wasn't, but I could have swore I saw that this matchup was for the Intercontinental title. But the match itself was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup with Rusev keeping the pace of the match. Rusev hits fall-away slam on Penta, followed by a Machka kick, but Penta ends up hitting a roll-up on Rusev, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Penta. After the match, you can see Rusev pissed off. He attacks Penta in the middle of the ring. Ethan Page is in the ring, and Penta then fights back, but Page attacks Penta. Javon Evans is here, and Evans attacks Page and Rusev, pretty much saving Penta in the middle of the ring. Moving on from that, we hear from Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch. Becky comes out to the ring, grabs the microphone. Becky says a lot of history went down at WrestleMania. She talks about beating AJ Lee at WrestleMania, as well as her accolades. Becky says that she's coming for Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. Becky says that she wanted to show her daughter what a champion really is. Becky then mocks the crowd. Becky says that the fans want her to be a fighting champion. So Becky issues an open challenge for tonight. After that, Io Sky's music hits. She comes out to the ring and she accepts Becky's open challenge. Becky says, accept what? She wanted new and exciting. Not Io Sky. And she is neither one of those things. Becky then asks, where is Rhea? Becky says that she wanted to fight Shawn Michaels and not Marty Jannetty. After that, Adam Pearce is here. Pearce announces that, where are you going? And you issue an open challenge, and that match is official. Let's get a referee down to the ring, which gets us into an impromptu matchup. It is Io Sky taking on Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental title. I thought it was a good match. There was a back-and-forth matchup between Io and Becky, with Io keeping the pace of the match. Becky hits an exploder suplex, followed by Becky hitting a leg drop for a near fall. Io then hits a release German suplex, followed by a running knee for a near fall. Becky then goes for a manhandle slam, but Io counters it with a foot stomp. Io then hits a sunset flip into a powerbomb on Becky onto the outside. Becky then hits a superplex into a DDT on Io for a near fall in the middle of the ring, but Io gets up, goes for a moonsault, but Becky counters the moonsault. Becky then hits a manhandle slam for a near fall. Becky looks distraught. Io then hits a moonsault to the outside, taking out Becky Lynch. Io then goes for a springboard maneuver, but Asuka comes down to the ring and attacks Io Sky. Becky then capitalizes on the attack from Asuka, which allowed Becky to hit a manhandle slam on Io Sky. Referee doesn't see the attack from Asuka, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Becky Lynch. After the match, Asuka attacks Io. Asuka then applies an Asuka lock, and then the fans were chanting, "We want Kyrie." Some interesting stuff there between Asuka and Io Sky. And moving on from that, we hear from the new acquisition to Monday Night Raw, Joe Hendry. We had the Joe Hendry concert. Hendry's sitting in the middle of the ring with the guitar. He announces that he is now on Monday Night Raw. Henry says that while he respects the ruler and acknowledges Roman Reigns, can we please fire Logan Paul? After this, Logan Paul with Austin Theory, they're here. They come out to the ring. Logan yells, "You can't fire me." Logan then mocks the crowd as well as Joe Hendry. Theory says that they are the greatest tag team of all time. Hendry then mocks Logan and Theory, and then Hendry attacks Theory and Logan in the middle of the ring. But after that, Theory and Logan Paul then try to fight back Joe Hendry. The Street Profits are here, and the Profits attack the Vision once again. It seems like the Street Profits has their sights set on the World Tag Team titles. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Rey Mysterio taking on El Grande Americano. I thought it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Rey and Americano, with Rey hitting a Hurricane Rana on Americano. Bravo, who was ringside, trips up Rey Mysterio, but Rey hits a 619 on Americano. Americano then has the steel plate, but OG Americano was here. He stops El Grande Americano. This allowed Rey to hit a 619 on Americano, followed by a West Coast pop, pins for the 3, And your winner of the match is Rey Mysterio. Hats off to Rey Mysterio for getting the win in this matchup. But after the match, you can see OG Americano attacking Grande Americano after the match. Now, I do know that there is a match taking place May 30th for AAA. It is a mass versus mass match between El Grande Americano taking on the OG Americano. Definitely looking forward to that matchup as well. Moving on from that, we go into an impromptu matchup. This match was made earlier in the night from Adam Pearce. It is Oba Femi taking on Grayson Waller. This was a glorified squash match with Oba keeping the pace. Oba launches Waller across the ring, with Oba hitting his signature fall from grace on Grayson Waller. Pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Oba Femi. After the match, Oba grabs a microphone and says he's feeling good, and hopes the fans are feeling good as well. Oba says that Waller was right, though. There is no more opportunity, so Oba makes it official. He is issuing an open challenge to have competitors face him in the middle of the ring. Now, we'll talk more about this open challenge at the end of today's episode. And moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the Judgment Day. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez taking on Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. This was a good match. The crowd was definitely into this match, especially with Roxanne Perez. I believe Roxanne's actually from Laredo, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, or got her start in wrestling in Laredo, Texas. It was a back-and-forth matchup. The Judgment Day were keeping the pace of the match with Lyra hitting a spin kick, followed by a Northern Light suplex. Bayley hits a Bayley to belly for a near fall, but Roxanne hits a Shining Wizard, followed by a Pop Rocks in the middle of the ring, pins for the 3. And your winners of the match are the Judgment Day. Hats off to the Judgment Day for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that to round out the night for Monday Night Raw, we hear from the OTC himself, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Reigns comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone. He talks about the World Heavyweight title. Roman says that the Heavyweight title was built to take away his shine. Roman then says the title doesn't make the champion, but the champion makes the title. Roman says that now you can respect the World Heavyweight title. Roman then says you can acknowledge this title, and he asks the fans to acknowledge him. After that, Roman's interrupted by the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Fatu comes out to the ring, grabs a microphone, but Roman says he hopes Fatu made the right choice. Fatu says that he didn't need a week. Hell, he didn't need an hour to make his decision. Fatu says he didn't stutter when he said he needed this title. Fatu said he spent 12 years grinding to get this opportunity. Fatu says it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. Fatu says that nobody called him except for Solo Sikoa. Solo put him on. Roman then mocks Solo. Roman tells Fatu, look around. Who do you think runs this place? Roman says the OTC runs this place. Roman says that Fatu doesn't deserve it. Fatu then runs to Roman and attacks Roman with the Tonga Death Grip. You can see Roman struggling to try to get out of the Tonga Death Grip. Fatu then says that he's going to take everything away from Roman. Fatu then holds up the World Heavyweight title. Roman then tries to get up, grabs the microphone, tells Fatu he will see him at Backlash. But Fatu says, hell, I'll see you next week on Monday Night Raw. Some interesting stuff there between the Tribal Chief and the Samoan Werewolf. Now, a couple things I want to talk about with you guys when it pertains to Monday Night Raw before I get the hell up out of here. I want to talk about this open challenge shit. I can understand Becky Lynch putting on an open challenge. I was happy that Io accepted the challenge, which we will talk about Io here in a little bit. The issue that I had with the open challenge was Oba Femi's. And the reason why that is for an abundance of reasons. Number one, you had Oba Femi go into WrestleMania in the biggest match of his career, ultimately pretty much retiring the Beast Brock Lesnar. Now we get to the second week of Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. We have Oba Femi facing off against Grayson Waller, and now Oba Femi wants to issue an open challenge for any competitor in the back to face off against Oba Femi. This is going to become a problem. And the reason why I'm saying this is going to become an issue is because this open challenge shit is not going to work consistently week in and week out. It's going to get stale. I give it about a few weeks and it's going to get stale. The problem is the fact that Obafemi is so over, which is great. And the fact that he dethroned the beast, Brock Lesnar, at WrestleMania. Now the issue is, creatively, who are we going to put into a matchup with Obafemi? Because whoever that individual is, most likely they're going to lose. So that takes away Gunther. That takes away other individuals on the roster right now that can't lose. But my issue with that is, as well, is that you're not building story. You have no creative direction right now for Obafemi. Hence the reason why Oba announced his open challenge last night on Raw. You have no vision, no storyline for Oba. And which is crazy, because we're talking about a guy who had one of the biggest matches at WrestleMania, beat Brock Lesnar, is the new, main eventer, if you will, for WWE. He is the guy. And you have no vision, no storyline, no creative around this guy. They backed themselves in a corner. So my question is now what does this do for Obafemi? You're going to have this guy week in and week out on Monday Night Raw having these open challenges against people that are either from catering, that ain't doing shit, that haven't been cut yet, or you might get a return of a Sheamus, and Sheamus gets squashed on his way back to WWE. What does this do for Oba? I don't even think Oba's even going to have a match at Backlash for right now. And Backlash, I think, is next weekend, if I'm not mistaken? May 9th? So I had to ask the question, what's next for Obafemi? Is it going to be Gunther? Is it going to be Drew McIntyre? Who is it going to be? I think McIntyre is actually away from WWE right now filming Highlander. If I'm not mistaken, after WrestleMania, the match he had with Jacob Fatu. So who is going to be that top guy, that top challenger to challenge the likes of Obafemi? And not for nothing, I feel like having the open challenge as well for Obafemi takes away the mystique of who Obafemi is. You know what I mean? The ruler. It just takes away that mystique from Oba. We don't need to see Oba on television every single week. I'd rather not see Oba on television every single week unless he was in a serious, predominant storyline leading us into a pay-per-view. Not some bullshit open challenge that he's issuing to fork out for any talent in the back for every single week. It takes away the mystique of Oba and its lackadaisical booking. You can't find a storyline for this guy. You can't find a suitable challenger or competitor for the likes of Obafemi. I don't give a shit if the guy faced off against Obafemi and lost. You can't get a storyline and have fans invested in a serious matchup here between Oba and somebody else from, the roster? Nothing? But instead we're going to have issue open challenges for Obafemi? Come on, man. Come on. The open challenge shit worked for the Brock Lesnar match because it was Lesnar. And hell, at that time, everybody thought Lesnar's open challenge opponent was going to be LA Knight. Thank God it was Obafemi. It only works for certain individuals. And I don't think this is going to work for Obafemi. The mystique is going to be gone in the next 3 to 4 weeks. People are going to get tired of the open challenge shit. We want storyline. We want a suitable challenger and competitor to face off against the likes of the ruler Obafemi. Now I feel like Obafemi's taking a back seat and having these open challenges because creatively they have no idea what to do with the likes of an Obafemi. That's a huge fucking problem. That's a huge problem. And you got to point the finger at Paul Levesque on that one. What do you do now with Obafemi? There's other matches on the table for Oba to have. I think what's going to happen is, depending on the Brock Lesnar situation, we could possibly see Gunther versus Obafemi at this year's SummerSlam in Minneapolis, depending on the Brock Lesnar situation. Because some people believe that Brock's not fully retired, and he wants one more match in Minneapolis, his hometown. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Rides off in the sunset in his hometown, and one of WWE's biggest events of the year, being SummerSlam. A 2-night event. I don't know. To me, the open challenge concept is, number one, dead. And two, it's completely beneath Obafemi, bro. Let's give this guy a suitable challenger and suitable competitor going into Backlash. We don't even know if he's going to compete at Backlash this year. We have no idea. All we do know is that last night he issued an open challenge for any member of the back on the roster. Come on, man. Come on. That's fucking lazy. Absolutely lazy. The other open challenge I want to talk about briefly, which I don't hate the idea, I'm glad that Io Sky answered the open challenge, was, like I said, Io Sky. After what Asuka did to Io, WWE made it official that it will be Io Sky versus Asuka at Backlash. Bro, you're a day late and a dollar short. You're missing one key component to that matchup, to that storyline. And that's Kairi Sane. Kairi's gone. You could have made this match at Backlash between Io Sky and Asuka, had Kairi Sane ringside, where the stipulation of this matchup was if Io Sky lost, she joins the Kabuki Warriors. She joins her master, her teacher in Asuka. But if Io Sky somehow beat Asuka at Backlash, Kairi Sane is no longer with the Kabuki Warriors, and most notably no longer with Asuka. You're missing that key component because Triple H and Nick Khan, for some apparent reason, let go Kairi Sane when seemingly this woman was on Monday Night Raw every single goddamn week. But now that she's gone, you want to make this match official at WrestleMania. Where the fuck was this matchup at WrestleMania? Why couldn't we have this match at WrestleMania between Io Sky and Asuka? Why? The story writes itself. Look at all the shit that Kairi Sane was dealing with from Asuka. Asuka bossing Kairi Sane around. Kairi pissed off or upset, trying to fit in with Asuka because she doesn't want to piss Asuka off, but she wants to get away from Asuka at the same damn time. The stipulation was in itself. Like I said, you could have Io Sky versus Asuka. If Io beats Asuka, Kairi Sane is no longer working with Asuka or a part of the Kabuki Warriors. But if Asuka beats Io then joins the likes of Kairi Sane and Asuka as the Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, when this match was made official for Backlash, I'm like, bro, you're a day late and a dollar short. You're missing that one key component in Kairi Sane. I mean, hell, when Asuka attacked Io last night, you had the fans, which I know WWE dialed that shit down, chanting, "We want Kairi." There's been people all over Twitter at the floodgates saying, "We want Kairi back." I don't know why Kairi Sane was released. I don't. This woman was predominantly shown on Monday Night Raw either every week or every other week. Dealing with Rhea Ripley, dealing with Asuka, trying to go after the women's tag team titles, and you let this woman walk out the fucking door. Now that Kairi Sane's gone, now you want to book this fucking match between Io Sky and Asuka? Come on, bro. You're a day late and a dollar short. You're missing that one key component in Kairi Sane, and she is no longer with the company anymore. She's no longer employed with WWE. Come on, man. That's fucking low, dude. It's low. It's absolutely it's garbage, man. It's garbage. It is. When they finally announced that match, I'm like, dude, really? You could have struck the iron when the iron was hot when Kairi Sane was there. The storyline was in itself, like I just have been saying. Kairi Sane was the centerpiece of that entire storyline between Io Sky and Asuka. And now that missing piece is gone. She's gone. She's no longer employed with the company. She's gone. But now that she's gone, now you want to book the match between Io and Asuka. Why? Because you know good and hell well, when that match goes down in Tampa at Backlash, every fucking person in that goddamn arena is going to be saying, "We want Kairi." You guys fucked up. You fucked up. Face facts. You guys fucked up. And that's just the truth of the situation. You let her go. For what reason? I have no idea. Especially with somebody being showcased on television either every week or every other week. Obviously, they had some kind of plan with her because they kept having this on-screen interaction between Kairi and Asuka and Io Sky, or Rhea Ripley for that matter. You had no plans for Kairi at all? Come on, man. Come on. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And then I want to talk about the Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. Now, this is a matchup where a lot of people are kind of 50-50 on. Some people want to see it, some people don't. I'm right on the same board, to be honest with you. There's a part of me that wants to see this matchup, but I know Fatu's going to lose. I don't see Fatu beating Roman right now, because right now, you got to feed the hot hand, which is Roman Reigns being the World Heavyweight Champion. Right now, Roman being World Champion is putting asses in seats for Monday Night Raw, whether you like it or not. The issue, not the issue, but the interest that I have in this is if Fatu does lose in Tampa against Roman at Backlash, are we seeing some kind of reformation here with the bloodline? Are we going to see Roman, the Usos, and Fatu once again join Roman Reigns? There's also been rumors and speculation that Fatu might not join Roman, even if he does lose. And maybe Fatu has his own stable. I know a lot of people have been trying to see if WWE is interested in bringing in Zilla Fatu. And Jacob Fatu and Zilla reunite in WWE. And he has his own stable. I wouldn't be surprised by it. I mean, if you look at the narrative right now, you have Roman. He originally had the bloodline. Right now, you have Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. I would not be shocked if somehow Jacob Fatu had his own stable. Maybe Roman would be a tribal chief on an island all by himself. I don't know. Maybe it's Roman by himself. You got Solo with the MFTs, and you got Jacob Fatu, maybe with the Usos and Zilla Fatu. Imagine that stable. Holy shit. I'll also say this. If Fatu now seemingly is on Raw, does that mean some top star from Monday Night Raw is going to go over to SmackDown? And I know some people are probably not going to believe this or not, but is it something where now, with the narrative on Monday Night Raw, with Roman being World Heavyweight Champion, and the fact that we're seeing Jacob Fatu on Raw now for the past couple weeks, are we going to see the likes of CM Punk somehow walk over to SmackDown? Because, again, they have been teasing this matchup here between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Rhodes was on Raw when Punk, I think it was the episode of Raw after Mania, Cody Rhodes came out and told CM Punk, just say win. Just say win when you want an opportunity at this WWE title. Is this something where CM Punk is going to walk through the doors of Friday night? It's a very, very high possibility, to be honest with you. And again, Cody Rhodes right now does not have a match for Backlash. Now, with Backlash seemingly being next week, there's really, if they book a matchup between Punk and Rhodes, again, a dream match for a lot of people, there's really not a lot of time for a lot of storyline nor build, for that matter, for a match going into Backlash. I can see that match happening maybe at SummerSlam with the proper build for the next couple weeks, couple months. I know, SummerSlam's not until August. But, we're going into the month of May. You got roughly, 3 months until we get to SummerSlam. Yeah, I can see CM Punk going over to SmackDown. That slow build between Punk and Rhodes for the WWE title, absolutely. I don't know if it's going to happen at Backlash. I know they announced, I think the Vision will face off against Logan Paul and Austin Theory at Backlash as well for the WWE World Tag Team titles. But, I don't know, man. I think, and the other thing, too, not that it pertains 100% to Monday Night Raw, but if you're looking at the tag team division for Raw and SmackDown, and just the open challenge for Opa Femi alone, it would be great for WWE to entertain the idea of merging the rosters as one. Especially for the tag team division, bro. I love tag team wrestling, and right now it is dog shit for WWE, man. It is. You got R-Truth and Damian Priest as a tag team champions on SmackDown. Well, they're not really genuinely a tag team. They're not. They're two singles competitors that got thrown together to form a tag team and became tag team champions. They're not a legit tag team. And then you got the MFTs, you got, Kit Wilson and The Miz. And then on the Raw side of things, you got The Vision, Street Profits, Los Garza, maybe. It's very selective on tag teams over on Raw as well. So I feel like merging at least the tag team divisions, maybe having one title, might not be a terrible thing, man, because right now tag teams in WWE are lacking. It's horrible. The tag team division on WWE is absolutely fucking awful. So I would hope that maybe one day WWE does entertain the idea of merging the tag team divisions, at least, bro, because, God, man, right now, the tag team division is fucking awful. I'm sorry. It is absolutely fucking horrendous. There needs to be change, man. I know a lot of people are going to give me flack about the Triple H shit. Look, I'm happy that he signed a new deal, but you can't give me examples of Paul Levesque doing very well in his position to given another opportunity at another 3-year extension on his current deal with TKO and WWE. I'm sorry. And not for nothing, if you're anybody with a decent brain cell in their brain can realize that the writing was on the wall. Paul Levesque inducted himself in the Hall of Fame last year, and then now we get Stephanie McMahon, who is his wife, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Maybe they saw the writing on the wall at some point and said, hey, you know what? Maybe our time is ticking here in WWE. The reason why they're keeping Paul Levesque in WWE, I can tell you right now for 2 reasons. One, if shit goes south, he's the fall guy. Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro, and especially Nick Khan, don't want to have the fingers pointed at themselves if shit goes wrong. Triple H is the fall guy if shit goes south for WWE. Whether it's ticket sales, merchandise sales, attendance, ticket prices, all that shit, or a horrible PLE, everybody's going to point the finger at Paul Levesque, just like these last set of WWE releases. All the fingers were pointed at Paul Levesque. He is the fall guy. Triple H is the Dana White of the WWE. UFC have no need for Dana White. The reason why Dana is still employed with the UFC and still working with the UFC is because he is the mouthpiece of the UFC. This is a guy that literally, when you think of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, you think of Dana White, because he's been there literally since basically day one. Honestly. So, yeah, Paul Levesque is the Dana White of WWE. Pretty much. He's the fall guy. If shit goes wrong in UFC, they blame Dana White. Even though Dana White's not doing shit. He's not doing the matchmaking anymore. There's no Eric Silva there. There's no Ratitas there. It's TKO and Dana White. The Ratitas are gone. Joe Silva's gone. UFC has not been the same in shit, bro. It's probably been, 10, 15 fucking years. It hasn't been the same. It hasn't. And not for nothing, I hate the new belts for the UFC. I love the old ones. I'm a nostalgia guy. Those new UFC titles are fucking ugly as shit looking. I'm a Chuck Liddell guy. Randy Couture. Mauricio Shogun Hua. Quentin Rampage Jackson. Vanderlei Silva. Fedor Emelianenko. That's as far as I go back. Anderson Silva. George St. Pierre. Come on, bro. Jens Pulver. Tim Sylvia. Andrei Arlovsky. Minotauro Nogueira. That's as far as I go back with MMA, bro. Mirko Krokop. Gonzaga. Come on, man. It's not the same, bro. I understand things change. I get it. And I understand it. It's a business, just like the UFC is. But to me, UFC and WWE are very similar in the aspect that they're taking away from what they truly are. UFC is an MMA promotion, mixed martial arts. They're more about the money. The cards that you're getting for MMA nowadays are complete and utter shit compared to what we were getting from UFC years ago, bro. I'm talking like UFC 100, UFC 200. I mean, UFC 100 was completely fucking stacked, man. You had Frank Mir, you had Brock Lesnar, you had Sean Sherk, you had Quentin Rampage Jackson, Vanderlei Silva, Chuck Liddell, and Vanderlei. I mean, the cards back then for the UFC were a hell of a lot better than what you're getting now. And they're pioneers of MMA. Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's just people just complaining and whining about the UFC, man. Honestly. And look, at the end of the day, as far as MMA is concerned, you have to pay attention to what Jake Paul is doing right now with his promotion. Having Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. Francis Ngannou's on that card as well. Nate Diaz. Come on, man. You have to pay attention to that shit. It's change. It's an alternative. That's just the way it is. You look at WWE for the past couple of years and look at their track record. It's not like they're putting on the best WrestleManias every single year. The past couple of years, WrestleManias have been dog shit. Because all they care about is corporate greed and money. That's it. Why do you think Pat McAfee was involved in that matchup between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes? Because they thought Pat McAfee can draw flies to shit. And it failed. Now Pat McAfee wants nothing to do with the wrestling business. Because he saw the writing on the wall. People hated the fact that Pat McAfee was there. Myself included. Pat was probably worried that because of what happened with his tenure in WWE, it was going to affect his other businesses that he had, like his podcast or working with ESPN and doing College Game Day. I think Pat McAfee needs to stay in his lane. To be honest with you, I think he'd be better off for it. And at least he was wise enough to realize that the shit he was doing for WWE, especially at WrestleMania, fell flat on its ass. It did not work. Hence the reason why the matchup that was scheduled for Backlash between Orton and McAfee taking on Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll fell flat. Because Pat McAfee said, you know what, the hell with this, I'm stepping away, I'm done. Even Jelly Roll told Pat McAfee, maybe we need to stay in our own lane and do what we're meant to do. And that's it. That we don't belong in this ring. We don't belong in this world of WWE. Yeah, I think you're right. You can always be a fan. You can, sure, absolutely be a fan. By all means. Do I need to see Pat McAfee or Jelly Roll in the goddamn ring? No, I do not. No, I do not. I don't. It's a joke. It turns into celebrity mania at that point. It takes away the wrestling aspect of the show. And I think WWE has been doing that for quite a bit of time now. Where it's more commercials, it's more ads, it's more celebrities. It takes away from the wrestling. It does. I mean, hell, like I said, WrestleMania Night 1, it was a 4-hour show from the hours of 6 p.m. Eastern until 10 p.m. Don't you think it's kind of fucking hilarious and mind-numbing in the fact that we only had an hour and 4 minutes of all pro wrestling on a 4-hour fucking show? And that being WrestleMania, the Super Bowl of professional wrestling? Come on, man. It's like watching the fucking Super Bowl with your team playing in it, and all you got was maybe 45 minutes of fucking football, and the rest of it was commercials and ads and bullshit. Come on, man. And it's not even that. WrestleMania was back-to-back in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. There was no change. There was no difference. Come on, man. It's fucking lazy. It's lazy. Just like the open challenge for Obafemi. It's fucking lazy. Lazy. You guys backed yourself in the corner. Now you don't know how to book Obafemi in a serious, predominant storyline for a match. That's what happened. So instead, you're going to put this guy in open challenges that are going to last, 3 to 4 weeks. That's going to get stale, and it's going to take away the nostalgia and the mystique of Obafemi. Coming off one of the biggest wins in his career, beating the Beast Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. One of the biggest matches at WrestleMania. And now you got this guy in open challenges every week because you got no plans for him. There's no opportunities. There's no storylines. You guys backed yourself in the corner. Then that's the truth of it. You don't know what to do with Obafemi. So the only way that you could put him on television and say, hey, you know what? Let's have some open challenges for him. Come on, man. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break, man. You know what I mean? It's a fucking joke. And like I said before with the Paul Levesque shit, I stand by what I said. I still think Paul Levesque's time is limited. I know he's assigned a contract extension. He is the placeholder for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm sorry. Think about it, bro. He inducted himself in the Hall of Fame last year. He inducted his wife Stephanie in the Hall of Fame this year. Maybe Paul Levesque saw the writing on the wall. Because at the end of the day, Paul Levesque is the fall guy when shit goes south for WWE. Whether it's ticket sales, pay-per-view buys are down, all that shit. Paul Levesque is the fall guy. Paul Levesque is the Dana White of the WWE. When shit goes south, they point the fingers at Dana White or they point the finger at Paul Levesque. You think Nick Khan is taking any blame for this shit? No. You think Ari Emanuel or Mark Shapiro from TKO is taking any blame for this shit? No. Just like you have some people out there that are so fucking delusional where they're sitting there thinking that Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel were behind the releases because they said, oh, we're head of, you know, we control the head of creative. We control all of creative. They don't give a fuck about who's on that roster. You think those guys are sitting around at a fucking round table, drinking their fucking lattes and going down the list and saying, you know what? Let's get rid of Dante Chen. Let's get rid of Kairi Sane. Let's get rid of the Wyatt Six. Let's get rid of Selena Vega. Let's get rid of Andre Chase. They don't know who the fuck these people are. They don't care. Shapiro, and people are like, oh, well, Selena Vega was on her Twitch account and said that she got a call from TKO. No shit. They ain't got no public relations team anymore. They ain't got no team. It's Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, and Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel. That's what it is. Well, TKO called Selena Vega. Where do you think that decision to have her cut came from? You think it came from Ari Emanuel? No. Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro told Hunter and Nick Khan, this is the number. And I want this amount of people cut from WWE today. Make it happen. And those decisions came down from Paul Levesque and Nick Khan. And they relayed that information back to Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel, and they made the calls. But those decisions of who got cut came down to Nick Khan and Paul Levesque. They didn't come down from Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro. They don't know who the fuck is on this roster, bro. They don't care. They don't give a shit. So for those people out there saying, oh, it completely only came down to Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel, you're fucking delusional. You're delusional, bro. They don't give a shit about who's on that roster. All they give a fuck about is lining their pockets with cash. That's it. We're also talking about a company in TKO that was in the hole with debt. Out their ass with debt. Now they're trying to do everything they can to bounce back to get back into the goddamn green and not stay in the red. Come on, man. TKO was, hell, UFC was damn near losing money. They were draining fucking money. What do you think the deals they have with Saudi Arabia and going over to Riyadh and shit like that? You don't think they're making their fucking money? Yeah, they're making their goddamn money. Over in Saudi Arabia? Absolutely. King of the Ring, Crown Jewel, all that shit. Hell, they got Night of Champions coming up on the 27th. Guess where that's taking place? Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They're making their fucking money. Come on, man. It's a fucking joke. WWE is becoming more about the money than actually what brought them to the dance, and that is pro wrestling at the end of the day. Aleister Black was supposed to be involved in the storyline between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Ari Emanuel told Aleister Black, hell no, I'm going to go with my guy, Pat McAfee, because I believe Pat McAfee is the guy. Pat McAfee is the next Sylvester Stallone. Get the fuck out of here. Stallone. Come on, bro. Come on. And hell, at least McAfee was smart enough to realize, hey man, this shit ain't working. No fucking shit. No shit. You thought you can draw flies to shit and have people buy tickets to see Pat McAfee at WrestleMania? Get the fuck out of here. Look, man, I get it. He has a very successful podcast. He does a great job. He also does a great job on ESPN College Game Day. Absolutely. But stick to that shit. Honestly. He probably saw the writing on the wall and saw the fans' backlash of how they were disappointed in Pat McAfee and said, you know what, I'm wiping my hands with this shit, and you're never going to see me step back in the WWE ring again because I have other business ventures, and I don't want this to affect what else I got going on behind the scenes. Smart man. Stay the hell away. Stay away. I wish we would have a WrestleMania with no celebrity appearances, to be honest with you. And just be fixated on the pro wrestling. Why we're here, what brought us to the dance. You want to have celebrities involved in WWE around WrestleMania weekend? Have them involved of the Hall of Fame ceremony. And that's it. Give their speeches or whatever, have some celebrities induct some of these WWE talents or whatever, sure. But being in the ring at the biggest stage of the year, WrestleMania, no, bro. Like, I don't need to see that shit. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see Jelly Roll or Pat McAfee or Little Yachty. I don't need to see that shit. I don't need to see I Show Speed at WrestleMania. I don't. Look, I respect what they do in their own businesses, in their own field of work. Look, fantastic. By all means, man, do your thing. I don't need to see you in WWE in a ring. I understand you're a fan. I get it. But just because you're a fan and the status that you have right now in your specific business venture that you're in doesn't mean that you need to be in the ring. You know what I mean? Be a fan, bro. Be ringside. Be in the crowd. Say hello. Look at George Kittle. George Kittle is a huge pro wrestling fan. I don't think we've seen him in the ring yet. I mean, hell, bro, even WrestleMania, what was it, night one? We saw more of George Kittle damn near than we saw pro wrestling. And all we saw George Kittle do was take people's beers and chug them. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing? You know, you look at SmackDown too, man. Like, the amount of talent that was released. And then you're bringing in all this NXT talent. Yeah, hopefully they can stack up. And yeah, thank God SmackDown is now considering going back to 2 hours for a little while because Braun Strowman's getting a new season of his TV show, which takes away SmackDown for 3 hours down to 2. Thank God, because SmackDown is the most 3 hours and the most boringest damn wrestling on the goddamn planet. So I'm hoping the likes of Blake Monroe and the rumors of Ricky Saint showing up on SmackDown, yeah, hopefully they can fix this show, but you need somebody else, bro. You need some star power on this show. That's why I would not be shocked if we see CM Punk walk through the doors of Friday night on USA, because they need somebody, man. They need something. Right now, they have no star power on this show. Roman's on Raw. Fatu now seemingly is on Raw. Drew McIntyre's out. Who else do you got? You think Solo Sikoa and the MFTs are carrying this fucking show? Absolutely fucking not. You need star power, man. You need somebody like CM Punk to come in to shake shit up. Something. Especially with a 3-hour format or even 2 hours on a Friday night for that matter. You need somebody to bring a little limelight to SmackDown, man, because right now SmackDown doesn't have jack shit. And look, I respect Cody Rhodes, but you can't put an entire show on one person. You just can't. You can't. And hell, there's some people even now that are actually almost exhausted with the Cody Rhodes experiment. I'm not, but there are some people that I know of that are just done seeing Cody Rhodes being world champion. They're done with it. And right now, the other biggest match on the table right now for CM Punk on paper would be a matchup between himself and Cody Rhodes. Maybe that matchup might take place at this year's SummerSlam, man. I don't know. But as far as Raw is concerned, man, it wasn't a terrible show. I'm not a big fan of the open challenges. They get tossed around so much, and honestly, I think it's below Obafemi. Let's get this guy in a storyline, man. Let's get a top challenger or competitor, and let's get a storyline going between Obafemi and another top competitor or top challenger on Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm not also happy with the announcement of Asuka and Io Sky at Backlash. Not for nothing, you're a day late and a dollar short. You're missing that key component in Kairi Sane, and she's no longer employed with the company. You're behind the 8 ball, man. You should have struck the iron when the iron was hot. And now you don't have that opportunity now because Kairi Sane is no longer employed with the company. So I don't know why this match is even being made. Because she was the key component in that whole storyline there between Io and Asuka. She played a huge role in that whole situation, and now she's gone. Not a big fan of that either. Looks like Division have some problems with the Street Profits, and we're getting Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker finally also at this year's Backlash. So I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup there between Rollins and Breaker. But with that being said, though, this is my review of Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.